I used to work here many years ago. I think I talked about that before. I was like 20. How the fuck old was I? 23, 24? I think I was 23. Or maybe I was 24. I can't remember. I think I was 23. And there was a kid. There was a girl I worked with. She was very young. I think she might have been 18 or 19. And she had like, I know she had a baby daughter. I can't remember how old she was. But I remember it startled me. Because I was like, aren't you yourself a kid? Like, why do you have a kid? I know that's like really naive, privileged thinking. Like, oh, you just haven't been exposed to the real world. I guess I haven't, because a lot of people in my family, when they had kids, they planned to have kids. Even Jeremy, he was married, and then actually Claire, she was knocked up, but they got married like right when they found out. So it would coincide, the baby being born would coincide. So they're like, oh, you had premarital sex and the baby was born out of wedlock, you know. My other cousin Derek, that was planned. The second baby was not planned. The first one was. And she's 20 this year. I can't fucking believe it. And then Max, when was he born? 2000. I think he was born in 2007 or 2006. Because when they were all going to court over Derek's crazy bitch ass ex, the ex-girlfriend, that's the baby mama of both his kids, was still pregnant. And the crazy bitch was trying to tell them, because they already decided on a name, because they knew the sex of the baby was a boy. They're like, let's call Max. Maximilian, Max. And this fucking crazy bitch, she was like, and Tara's my daughter, and Max is my son. Well, the mom went and spoke, you know, to everybody. And she's like, that's funny considering the fact that he's still in my belly. You know, she was pissed about having to make a courtroom appearance. But it's a good thing she did, because the fucking asshole judge, the California judge, he was not believing my cousin at all. His very clearly deranged fucking ex was like, she was like, and Tara's my daughter, and blah, 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 blah. You know what, we can take a shortcut and walk through the school to get where we need to go. Hopefully we don't get arrested. But she was like, Tara's my daughter. Lie. Max is my son. Well, everybody knew she was full of shit, but now we really knew she was full of shit, because I mean, I think the judge asked, was it like, did she donate her egg? Is she an egg donor? Was it in vitro because she can't conceive? And Trish, you know, the original ex, the baby mama, because they broke up amicably, but they broke up, but they were still friends. And she was like, no, it's our baby. It's his and my son. And Tara is mine and his daughter, you know, which we had normally, the normal way. And so the case was thrown out. But it was like, I was told from Derek and everyone that the judge pretty much didn't believe him still was still kind of like, like, oh, like he believed the woman, but he wouldn't believe him because he's a man, which I thought was really weird. Considering he had a clean record, never got arrested, never went to jail, never went to prison. But I think Max is either 17 or 18 this year. I think he was born in 2007, so he'd be 17 this year. And we'll be done with school next year. I can't fucking believe it. Honestly, it just goes to show how old I am. I'm old. I'm officially old. Those wrapped up things look like dead bodies. Like, this looks like the alley from Silent Hill 1. When you come out and there's like a dead body on a gurney. Just, And then those little demon babies with the knives come out. And then he wakes up in the cafe. This is a really great time for me to be talking and joking about that. Especially when this school is supposed to be like haunted as fuck. Oh no. A barricade. However will I get through? However will I get through? It's interesting about the school being haunted. When I first worked there in 2006, I had no idea of Roy High's history. I had none, and I talked about this before. I went in just as like, oh, I heard about the school. I had friends who went there. Nobody ever talked about how it was haunted or whatever. That was news to me. I mean, I'm pretty sure by the time I got to that school, I forgot all about that shit. I was scared of that being alone in that school because it gave me the creeps. That school is like Roy High. Now I know it's haunted. And I felt negative energy, very extreme negative energy, and cold spots back in 2006 before I even knew the place was haunted. It had been haunted for decades longer before I first set foot in there. And speaking of Roy, when I was walking and I decided, I'm going to take a shortcut through the back of the school, which I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be honest right now, I kind of regret it because I felt so uneasy and nervous and panicked. Like, the abandoned farmhouse in Clinton, how I described that feeling of helplessness, anxiety, nervousness. That's how I felt, but increasing anxiety until I crossed under that barricade and left. And I was joking about Silent Hill and the little demon babies with knives, but trying to break the tension because it felt very tense. And another thing, around the time I said, I don't think I captured on film because it was like a blink and you miss it thing that I barely noticed, not in the camera, but just like my actual eye looked like a man, the dark silhouette of a man, just kind of like rounding the far corner. Like if you see from here to where that Panda Express, the Krishna Express is, so like I'm here before the first barrier at Roy High where the bathrooms are, and then looking up past the weightlifting room where there's that kind of like a little alley area, I saw what looked like a dark silhouette of a man just kind of dart, like behind that area. And I didn't call attention to it really the only reason I didn't call attention to it is because I didn't really know if I really saw what I thought I saw, because like it could literally be a trick of the light, it could be seeing things, whatever. There's lightning. It could have been a pareidolia based shadow from an ocular hallucination, pareidolia based from the lightning. Like I'm not automatically, oh, it's a ghost, oh, it's a demon, but it moved like I legit thought. Like if you're so certain you're alone, you're out and about, you're walking, you're exploring by yourself, and then you randomly hear or see or bump into someone, that feeling where you're kind of like, oh, especially with someone you don't know, so you don't know if they're nice or mean or friendly or bad. I always get this kind of feeling like, I don't know if girls get it, but guys get it like in our sack, where it's like, oh. And I guess people describe it as like fight or flight. I don't know if this is rain or hail. This could actually be snow. So thank God I'm almost home. Yeah, so I didn't bring attention to that for A, because I didn't know what I was seeing, if it was actually, a ghost or not. Or a shadow person, I guess, because those are supposed to be, they're supposed to be extra dimensional, and they're supposed to be worse than ghosts. B, also, I feel like if I don't bring attention to it, if I don't acknowledge it, if I don't speak it into existence, then it's not real. Just in case it is real and it's evil, it's malevolent, then I'm not empowering it by fearing it, or, you know what I mean? I'm not like giving in to negative energy, which a lot of these beings supposedly feed off of. Of course my area town would be, like, you can't even see the sky, it's all clouded. I thought it was relegated out there past Roy and Antelope. Nope, it's out here. It sure as shit is out here. But I hope you enjoyed those little stories this evening. And the last one about the supposed ghost shadow person wasn't really a story, it's what I thought I saw. And I'm willing to concede it could have been an illusion, an ocular pareidolia from the lightning. So, if you don't know what pareidolia is, it's like seeing faces or things out of like trees, rocks, shadows, whatever. I don't know if it's really necessarily applied to shadows, but that's what I call it, because it's just, I'm trying to make it sound more scientific and reasonable. I feel like if the first thing you jump to, oh, it's a ghost, it's a demon, I feel like your credibility is kind of like questionable if you're not willing to be rational about it and be like, we are at Roy High School. It is midnight, so it's not quite the witching hour. We're at Roy High. It's midnight, and I want to see if we can find some ghosts, or wisps, or orbs, or hear voices, or what have you. Purple ribbon. We always had red Ribbon Week. Jesus Christ, there's a lot of fucking uneven sidewalks between here and fucking Clearfield. I'm trying to think, it was here in Roy. There's a parking lot. There's 3 big fucking holes in the street. Haven't filled it out yet. And I nearly stepped in one. It was like, if I step into it, I'm going to fall and break my face. What is that? Hello? There's no way in hell those are leaves. That sound like footprints. Footsteps. It sound like a dog. From this direction behind me, a dog following, and then it sounded like they scurried off when I said hello. It ain't fall anymore. Leaves ain't fucking falling. It's spring. And it ain't raining, so it wasn't water leaking. It sounded like a dog. Like their padded paws slapping the concrete. So I just stepped on another gash. See, it's I'm going to end up doing a quality report on this fucking place. Instead of a ghost hunt, it's going to be a quality report. Because sooner or later, some kid's going to, like, not watch where he's going. He's going to trip, fall on a crack, and smash his face in the ground. And I'll have this footage beforehand. See, told you. Y'all should have done something. You didn't. This school is in such desperate need of a remodel, but I don't think they will. Up there, I think that's part of the gym, or that might be the theater. They have increased the number of portables. These are permanent portables. They've been here at least the last 5 or 6 years. 4 to 5 years that I've been coming back around here. Since returning to Utah in 2014, they've never had this many, like permanent portables. And they've got more people moving into Roy and not enough room for their kids to go to school. So they're kind of really stuck. I mean, people have said, the school needs to be expanded, but they don't have the budget. And plus, what I've heard is they don't have the budget. And I've also heard that they don't have the room to build, that it's not feasible. I'm trying to remember what hallway this is. I think that leads to the gym. There's a hallway upstairs that has the trophy cases. That's very... Let me tell you something. When I worked here, I only worked here for about a week. Yeah, this is the cafeteria. In 2006, I was a sub-custodian. I can't remember, was I sub-custodian or was I hired full-time? I think it was just for the summer. Because I was only like 21, 22. So I don't think they don't hire young people like that for like permanent custodial jobs. But anyway, I took my break and I hung out in the trophy hall, and I was borrowing my friend Nick's old cell phone with his old number at the time, because he had a new cell phone. That was one of the more modern ones for the time, 2006, 2005. And his old one was just like that brick, the smaller brick Nokia. And because I did not want to use the phones like the faculty, I didn't want people, I wanted the freedom to... I was like, well, I guess I could walk over to the complex, because they used to have a free phone. It was like pay phone, but it didn't, you just lift it up and dial. It was free. so kids could call their parents to come pick them up. I think this leads down to the boiler room. The basement boiler room might actually be the I don't think it's the team locker. I don't think so. I think it's like the boiler room. People have always told me before, they're, oh, it's the team locker. I'm like, why the fuck would they come out there? It's the farthest away from the actual field, the track where the games are held. Makes no sense. This is a Olympics 2002 trash can. I don't know why Roy High had these. Northridge didn't. I have a theory. I think they got those from Salt Lake. I think someone went and took them because Weber County was not hosting the Olympics. It was Salt Lake. The decal on that one's been. Oh, hi, I have a camera too. Hi. This one, this is the gym. This is the gym hallway. The hallway above this one, it's an upstairs hallway that has the, this leads to one of the, there's two basketball courts. This is the main one people go into to watch games and stuff, basketball games and all that. The above floor has the trophy hall, and I went there for my break because I wanted to be away I'm going to be honest. I hate lying. I have no reason to lie. So I'm going to tell it like it is. And these people are probably gone by now. I did not get on with my coworkers. I wasn't feeling them. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, you didn't get along with the older boomer custodians. No, I didn't get along with the younger people who were my age or younger. I didn't get on with them because they were between 17. I feel like every time I applied for something, I was always the oldest. And I fucking hate that. 22 is not old, but when you're with teenagers, you're basically, even though you're not that, far along, you may as well be a fucking in the Smithsonian, We're going to film around Sandridge too, because that place is supposed to be haunted. I'll tell you about that in a minute. So I took my break. In fact, that upper part of that room there that you can see, that main entrance to the auditorium. Oh no, that doesn't connect to the trophy room. That's just the upstairs entrance to the theater. Never mind. I took my break in the trophy room. It just happened to be, hey, I've been here for 3 hours. Is it okay if I take my break? Oh, sure, go ahead. So I went, took my break, and I'm sitting there. My call would not go through. It went on, so I waited, tried again. I'm like, okay, maybe I need to wait again. The phone was completely charged. I charged it overnight. The call would not go through. When I left the building and went out, the phone vibrated. Call came in. It was Nick. He was like, oh, I thought you were going to call on your break. I was like, I tried calling and it wouldn't go through. I had just barely left the building, and that's when your call rang through. And he's like, oh, that's weird. I was like, yeah. Apart from that, I sat there and waited for a few minutes before leaving to make the phone call. Because I thought, Well, I don't know what I thought. I thought maybe it could have been electrical interference. I don't know from what. I figured it could have been any odd number of things doing it. So I sat there and waited, and I got the most tense, like anxious, tense. The feeling I would describe, is tension, like anxiety. Like if I'm currently fighting with my parents, home is the last place I want to be because there's lots of tension. There's going to be snarky comments, sarcastic comments are going to be say mean things. So that's the feeling that I had in that trophy room, that trophy hall. This oppressive feeling. Because I know that's what people describe in these ghost shows. They go, oh, it's an overwhelming, oppressive feeling. Let me say, I didn't feel overwhelmed. I didn't feel like, oh, spirit has entered my person. I feel electric. I feel possessed. No, I just felt like it was gloomy. I felt like it was kind of depressing, gloomy, depressing, tense. Like I want to get the fuck out of there. And that was before I knew there was anything like, oh, there's ghosts, there's whatever, in the school. Like that was before I knew any of that. Visitor ticket booth. I'll turn the light off. Maybe we'll capture something one way or the other. About 16 years ago, 2008, before my friend died, him and my other friend, Michelle, came out here. He had, I think it was a disposable camera. Because I think Michelle told him, oh, the high schooler is supposed to be haunted. He was on this fucking ghost hunting kick or whatever. I don't even know what the fuck. I didn't even know he was into shit like that. So all three of us pile in the car, and she drives us out here. And we're parked, I think, around Sandridge, and we walked up between here and there. And they both asked me, because I was like the lower person. She asked if I knew more stuff about it. And I said, well, there's supposedly a ghost that walks between the schools, a guy ghost. And then there's an old woman ghost who haunts the theater. And then I'm not sure if it was this school or this building, but there's supposedly a little girl ghost. When the building was being built, she fell off the stage and died. Supposedly. Now that might be from I might be conflating that one with another one that I heard. It might not be Roy, the little girl one. But I've heard that in lots of kids I've taught to. I've worked with Roy High students. They told, oh yeah, it's haunted. They told me names of certain spirits and stuff. Purple Hat Lady is the mean ghost. Purple Hat Lady. I think they said her name's Mabel or Maple or something. And she's in the theater. What's really creepy is we went to see, for our theater class in high school, we went to see the Roy High production of Young Frankenstein. And I have no idea how the PTA, the school board, any of them, the faculty ever signed off on that and said, oh, cool. Yeah, you can do that. If you ever seen the actual movie Young Frankenstein with, the fuck was his name? Gene. I can't remember his name. But, yeah, it's an adult comedy. I mean, the acting in it was kind of shitty. But I mean, I went in knowing that. I'm like, because I was a high schooler when I went in, so I was like, ugh. Because I know high schoolers aren't like De Niro's and fucking Meryl Streep's. I don't know what that car was that just turned down there. If it was a cop car or a normal car. Turn my light off. So I know like the kids in it weren't like De Niro's and Meryl Streep's and stuff. They're just fucking teenagers acting in a shitty low budget school play, because of course it's low budget school play. It's wild because back then when I went to see it, this was like circa 2002, 2003, I didn't know that the school was haunted. I had no idea. At that time, I was really, really scared of ghosts all growing up. When elementary school, middle school, high school. In fact, there was a documentary I saw, not about ghosts, about vampires. And that scared the shit out of me because I thought they're worse than ghosts because they can fucking like let themselves in, suck your blood, blah, 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 or kill you. I don't think vampires are real, but ghosts are definitely real to an extent. Regardless if it's just negative energy or vibrations or what have you. I really don't want any cops or anybody to see me lurking here. So maybe I'm going to come back by, but it's still kind of early-ish at night, so people might be doing their rounds about here. And it's okay because this whole area around here is purportedly haunted as fuck, so it shouldn't really matter. It shouldn't really matter where I go. But I will say, I'll talk about this school in a minute. I haven't forgotten. I came out here last weekend, and I filmed. And on the way home, I walked around the back of, here, Roy High, right where I was. Ooh, the wind's picked up. The wind's picked up. I walked around the back of it. There's like this little alley area. And it's like what you saw at the beginning of this video. That's where I was. It started like heavy raining, like not really like a downpour, but kind of like just hard rain, and it was almost like hail almost, or slush. Wind started picking up. I was like, I gotta get my fucking ass out of here. I've gotta get the fuck home. When I was walking through there, and I don't think I captured it on film, but I'm gonna walk back by there on the way home after concluding this, and hopefully, or maybe not hopefully because it's scary as hell, I can pick something up on camera like what I saw. So what I saw was, if you see my shadow, okay, like that, that's my shadow. I saw what looked like a man, the outline or the silhouette of a man, and honestly, that's just what I thought it was. And you know that feeling you get when you, not necessarily bump into someone, like you make physical contact, but you just notice someone, like you stumble upon someone that you were not expecting, or even if you come across like a dog, and you're kind of wary of like strange dogs, you get that feeling like, oh, this isn't good. That's how I felt. I felt like, oh, who's that? There's another person there. But he was walking kind of briskly and then turned the corner, but I didn't see any details apart from just a shadowy outline. That's all I saw. And I'm not saying it's a ghost. I'm not saying it's not a ghost. I'm not saying it was a homeless guy or a student or whatever. It could have been anything. I will say that when I was walking through there breeze, the wind's picking up. When I was walking through there, that little the back of the building, the feeling I had was the same tense feeling of anxiety and dread that I had in the Clinton abandoned farmhouse. The feeling was so strong of get the fuck out of here, get the fuck out of here. So I was just like, you know what, that's why I was cracking jokes like, oh, this is like the Blair Witch, I'm walking in circles, this is like Silent Hill. Specifically, I said it was like Silent Hill because of it was like a little alley and it started raining. And they had those little sandbags, and I said it looked like those bodies in the first game with the demon children stabbing you, and then you wake up in the cafe. It did not actually help with my growing anxiety. Suffice it to say, I felt increasingly more anxious. Is that a camera? Oh, it's a street light. Oh, and it turned on. That's helpful. These lights almost never turn on. It's getting chilly. It was perfect when I first started walking here. There was no rain, there was no snow, there's no wind, and now it's like out of wind. Now, okay, this school, I mentioned the story before, but since we're here, I'll talk about it now. I did custodial here for a few months back in 2007 to 2008. And then I cleaned there once in 2009, a couple of times in 2009. I never did get hired back full time, but I was working here. I didn't really know this school was haunted or had a history, but I knew at that time, I definitely knew the high school that Roy High did. And the people, I liked the people that I worked with here at Sandridge. And it was only like 2 or 3 years after I had worked at, like maybe less than that, like maybe, it's actually maybe a year or 2 years after working at Roy High. I didn't really feel any feelings of dread in the school, but I will say that going to certain classrooms, because you clean them, you vacuum it. This school had a policy in which I loved. They said if they leave pencils on the floor, papers on the floor, leave it, clean around it, because that's the teacher's responsibility to make the kids pick it. I'm pretty sure it was this school. It wasn't Kaysville's policy, because Kaysville, oh my God, let me tell you about Kaysville. Those people are fucking bitches at that school. Not only do they want you to clean the kids' mess, the teacher's mess, they want you to try to fix things that have been broken, probably by the teachers themselves years ago, but they're trying to blame it on the custodians to cover their own asses. Did you hear that? Oh, I think it's somebody walking their dog. I was like, oh my God, it's a ghost. No, it's somebody walking their dog. What was I saying? Oh, so you'd have to go and vacuum around the stuff. I remember that because that's why I liked cleaning there, because they're like, if they leave it on the floor, just clean around it, because that's their responsibility. And that really saved on time. So, and of course, you're supposed to lock the door when you're done. You lock it behind you. And it was just like you get this feeling like you're being ushered out of the building, like ushered out of the class, like, go, go. Not really by anything malevolent or anything, but just like I would feel like I'm being hurried out. Like, for example, if you're stopping and chatting with a friend who's late for work, and they're like, oh, it was nice seeing you, but I gotta go. And they're trying to, you know, rush you along out the door. It was like that. That area down there is freaky as fuck. Freaky as fuck. This is where I walked last weekend. I feel really tense right now. Trying to remember where the hell was it I saw that shadow, because I was down there. I think I had just started filming. I had not come this way, and it must have been, I must have seen it like, it had to have been going this way, unless I was over here and I saw it go that way, like where you can see the light on the old building. This is the outdoor commons. There's like a dog house. Oh, that's like the outdoor daycare. Yeah, so I must have seen it either pass by right there or over that way. That's like their greenhouse building, I think. I think that used to be somewhere else, if I'm not mistaken. Because the weather's died down a bit, but what is that? I think that's a fire hydrant. I hope that's a fire hydrant. Right there. You can't even really see it. God damn it. That's a fire hydrant. From a distance, it looks like it's someone, like a small person, like kneeling or just kind of like cradling themselves. Fucking creepy as hell. And then I'm pretty sure what I heard swaying was the tennis net, but it sounded like, see, listen. You can't even hear the tennis nets. I don't even think it was the tennis nets. Well, the sound, what I thought, the swishing just now sounded like someone's windbreaker shorts that you'd wear in the 80s or 90s. Then before that, when I was talking, I heard what sounded like sneakers very lightly treading on gravel. And I just dismissed it in my mind like, oh, that's the the tennis nets. Well, I didn't hear the tennis nets making that noise just now. And it's the same level of windy as it was a minute ago. So anyway, we'll walk around the front of the building, turn my flashlight off, get the fuck out of here. The people down there that were walking, unless it was one of the ghosts of the place, it's probably